Hey everybody, sorry about that. That was the wrong stream I used. Welcome everybody to the Ashes of Creation Community Podcast. I'm your host, the Big Chick Giant, and today's guests are DA and Sarumonen. Why don't you guys introduce yourself first? DA, how about you go first, because Saru has been on the podcast before.
All right, no problem. I'm DA. I'm pretty sure you guys seen me on the Discord. I'm also Drax on the forums. If you guys have any questions about anything, I'm always down to theorycraft, talk about anything, or converse or whatever. Yeah, so just hit me up.
Saru, why don't you let the people know who you are, because I think nobody really knows you.
My name is Sarumonen. I am one of the community moderators here at Ashes of Creation with Intrepid Studios. So, hope you guys are doing well today.
Alright, Saru is also one of the guys who does the modcast or livecast, how it's called now, every Wednesday. So if you guys want to catch that, make sure every Wednesday at, what is it? What time is it again?
It's 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, there you go. So before we get started today, I know normally we get right into the topics, but this time we're going to do something different. I kind of want to make a statement, because since the last podcast, a couple of things happened, and I just want to clear the air. A couple community members kind of pointed out that I would promote myself, my YouTube channel, or my stream, and make money with this podcast and use the community to do so. I just want to say the following. I want to say this following to this. I have 0 YouTube skills. I do maybe one YouTube video once a year. My Twitch stream, I stream maybe twice a month, and I always have the same 3 people on my stream. So there's that. And the community podcast was an idea a friend of mine and me came up with at the beginning of the year. We were like, we want to do a podcast for the community, because the Ashes of Creation community is awesome. It's friendly, it's transparent. Everybody gets along with mostly everybody else. And we wanted to do a podcast for members of the community. Sadly, my buddy had to move back to India. Feels bad. But I still wanted to do a community thing every 2 weeks and be involved within the community. And I felt like doing a podcast with different community members every 2 weeks and talk about Ashes-related stuff and giving people a chance to be in the spotlight would be a good thing to tell people how I feel personally about the community podcast. So there's that. And I only, that's the statement I wanted to make. I honestly, I don't make this I don't do this to become famous. I have 0 YouTube skills, so there wouldn't be any reason for that. This is only seriously to my dead honest. This is why I do this, because I like the community so much. I'm getting all nervous and I start stuttering and my English becomes really bad and the German accent takes over, so I'm sorry for that. But that said, let's get straight into the first topic. Which is Alpha Zero skills. Last live stream, Steven, pretty much for I think a good amount of the stream, read through all the Alpha Zero skills for all the classes that we will be able to play in Alpha Zero. That brought up a couple points within the community. One of them is one of them I actually brought up, and that started a whole other discussion on the Discord. Is most of the skills had 2 ways you could skill them. And I noticed some of them are more PvE related, the other ones are more PvP related. In that regard, DA, do you like the skills that they gave us, and would you like to be able to switch between different types of builds, depending on the situation in the game?
I like the skills that they presented. I would like to be able to change between skills, just because myself, I like flexibility. Different fights. You might be in a fight where you need a move that you might need to teleport to get to a certain goal faster, or whatever it may be. So I think just being able to rotate skills adds a layer of flexibility that would be highly beneficial to anybody playing PvP or whatever your event might be. I'm sorry.
Saru, what's your opinion on the subject?
On the brand new skills that were buffed up.
Yeah.
So, I'm really going for a cleric in this game. So, you know, all I'm hearing is awesome, right? Because like it's all super buffed up. Everything that they're saying is super buffed up. So I don't know. I mean, I know it seems a little unbalanced at the moment because we don't really see the other classes, so it's kind of hard to say where things are going to go from this point on. But I mean, for the cleric standpoint, I mean, I'm pretty excited for it.
Oh yeah.
So you didn't like, I know the cleric, and I know in the Kickstarter, on the Kickstarter page where they describe the classes, it says the cleric has the power over life and death, or controls the aspects of life and death, I think were the exact words. So you didn't feel like there weren't enough, you know, like life-sucking sort of skills, or, you know, other like damage-related skills?
Like there weren't enough, or there were too many?
There weren't enough. There weren't enough. I felt only because I thought about playing the cleric.
Yeah.
And then I heard the skills, and then I heard the mage skills, and, you know, black hole, that sort of thing. So I think I'm gonna go mage. But like, as a former cleric fan, didn't you feel like they didn't have enough damage skills for the cleric, or what was your opinion on that?
I mean, I think they're trying to balance it out, because again, you know, the cleric is a healer, right? So they're trying to make sure that you are healing, and you have so many limited skills that you can actually put on your bar. You gotta kind of figure out where you want to go. I'm wondering personally on the skill bar if you can actually have like multiple skill bars, you know, one for PvE, one for PvP, or
I think, you know, so.
Whatever. Yeah, and so that would be different. I mean, but we don't really know the full skills, so I mean, I'm not really paying too much attention because I never know if they're gonna add more, remove some. So
well, now that you said that, something comes to mind, and I might be grasping at straws here, but I think I recall in one of the videos, because I did do. I'm trying to, you know, get a YouTube video out there. I think the last one I made is like a half a year ago. And I noticed that, you know, one of the few gameplay clips we have access to, I think, you know, on the left side of the skill bar, there's in other MMOs, there's like these arrows where you can switch between one skill bar or the other.
Right.
I think I saw that. And yeah, but and the statement you just made with the cleric being a heal class, Jeff also said that in one of the live streams, that because that was one of the reasons why I decided to become actually to play cleric in the beginning. He said that support classes will also be able to do damage. So that got me a little bit wondering when Steven read the whole skills for Alpha Zero for the cleric.
Yeah, and usually in games I'm mostly a tank, but I'm actually in this one I'm actually rooting for the archer. But when they read the skills off for the cleric and the mage, that really had me thinking. I'm like, like maybe I should, you know, look into the cleric, because some of those skills that they have, I'm pretty impressed with. And so how they implement, it's going to be interesting to see how they implement it, in a game environment like this. But yeah, I'm kind of. Man, they caught my eye with the cleric.
Okay, let me give you one statement, because after the last live stream, I brought this up in the community, and a lot of people had different opinions about it. So with the possibility of skilling one skill in different ways, some of them with like hate or aggro effects, the other ones with like snare, silence, and stunts. I gave the community the possibility of having several builds. You know, one for more PvE related stuff, one for more PvP related stuff. Some people agreed with me because I had the opinion that you should be able to switch between skills, switch between builds at some point. You know, go to a teacher, whatever, or change on the fly. Other ones said no, they just want to have one build for everything. So where do you stand on that, Saru? Do you want just one build for PvP and PvE, or do you want to have like specific builds for specific situations?
I feel like if you're just using one build, you know, I think that goes without saying, whether it's gear or whether it's skill related. It kind of feels unrewarding, I believe. I think if you're using different skills at all times, you know, you're trying to mix and match and make sure that, you know, you're properly giving the DPS that you're trying to give out, or the heals, I guess, whatever you're going for, really, or tanking. I mean, I think we should be given the ability to switch rather than just stay with a stagnant, like, here's your set of keys and skills that you're going to use, and that's it. I mean, that just kind of, I don't know, that seems boring to me personally.
Yeah, and this game is built around personal choice, and you know, going with the whole theme of the game, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be able to at least customize our skills, especially with the amount of skills and abilities that we're going to choose from and pick and choose from. I don't see why we would be just confined to one build.
So do you want to be able to change it on the fly? Like you go somewhere, you're in a PvP build, then you open a menu, and you are all of a sudden you're in a PvE build? Or do you want to be like, I have to go, each time I want to change my build, I have to go to a teacher or some NPC or do some quest? Like, what do you want?
I've seen it done both ways, and I don't have really any specific preference. I do like the ability to open a menu and maybe change out my skill sets. That way, like say, maybe not necessarily change skills during a match, but before maybe a PvP match starts, or if I'm, you know, out in the open world and I get attacked, or if I see like a caravan coming, if I, instead of having to go to a town and talk to an NPC, changing your skill sets and then going out there, you know, allowing more flexibility for different situations. I think having a menu to interchange your skills would be a lot more beneficial than having to, let's say, go to an NPC or something like that.
What about you, Sarah?
I think like in most MMOs or modern MMORPGs, I mean, you usually have like a skill page, or pages. You have like three different sets or whatever, and you can click the button and just switch it over rather than going to an NPC and you know, having him switch for you. I think that's a little too intricate. I think it'd be I think it'd be more fun if we kind of stick to the modern thing where you have a page, okay, you switch it over to the DPS or to the healing or to the PvP, whatever you have, you know.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. So yeah, I feel like, you know, being able to switch on the fly might make certain situations a lot like a lot more confusing than they should be. So I feel like, you know, if you go out to do PvE, then you go out and do PvE, and then when there's a raid situation, you know, or a PvP situation, and then you come back, you make the choice, okay, now I'm going out again to do PvP. I mean, that gives a whole more deeper aspect of the game where you really have to make a choice. Am I going out to PvP or am I going out to do PvE? I think people would put a lot more thought into their decisions if they have to decide beforehand. Okay, so that cleared. Let's go to a topic that is somewhat related to this one, which would be something a lot of people talk about in the Discord every day, is open world PvP. What I want to know from you two now, and from Saru, you being involved with the community from like almost the beginning and having a lot of responsibilities within the community, and you get a lot of feedback from everybody because of your position in the community, and DA, from you just being a member, I want to know, like, what is the one thing you want from open world PvP and one thing you absolutely do not want in this game when it comes to open world PvP? DA, you go first.
Open world PvP. I can't really say what I want. What I don't want, I don't want a tactic where people can abuse the griefing system. I don't want something where I've seen it poorly executed in other games where someone can attack you and then run to a different place, cool down for a moment, and then stand there. And as soon as you try to, you know, attack them back, they basically circumvent the griefing system. I've seen, you know, I hope they don't limit us because of too many like complaints about, you know, hey, this guy killed me, or, you know, you never know what position they might take when it comes to PvP and how they do it. But as far as things I would like, I've played couple games with open PvP, and every game that I've played, I've seen it done really well. So I don't think I have any much comment on what I would or wouldn't like to see. But as like I said, as long as they do it right, I'm all for it.
What about you, Saru?
I think there's a lot of different opinions on this. I mean, a lot of people just like an open world gank box. A lot of people would like to be, have the option to just like press a button and then bam, you are flagged for PvP. Personally, I don't really care if it's an open world PvP. I mean, I think that kind of breathes more, I guess atmosphere to what the game is supposed to be, right? Because it's supposed to be a PvX game. It's not supposed to be a PvE or strictly PvP. It's both. It's a mixture, and that's what they're trying to do, right? So, I mean, I really don't mind if it's a PvP area, as long as the major cities decide to be, there's safe zones and stuff like that. Because a lot of people don't like that, right? They don't like to be ganked or anything. So, as long as you're in a city or whatever, then I think that would be a viable option.
So there's like nothing for you too. There's like nothing major you really don't want, because for me, for example, I don't want PvE. I mean, this is kind of sound weird. I don't want PvE content that gets that forces me into like PvP content. That said, I'm not saying because the PvE content is like making me do PvP. I don't mind if the PvE content makes me do PvP. But what I'm saying is, if the PvE content isn't like challenging enough or gets boring quick, then the only other option I have is to do PvP. That I kind of would do mine, because I always want to have the option, what do I feel like doing today? Do I want to do PvP or do I want to do PvE, and still have a challenge in both of them? Like, that's like one of the things that I kind of like want in open world PvP.
Right.
Alright, let's jump to the next topic. And this is going to be one where we're going to be talking a little bit longer about, because Saru, we talked about it on the live cast. And I feel like it's such an interesting topic that I thought I'd take the chance and we talk about it on this podcast as well, which is guild politics. And the reason for that is because I believe, and I think I'm being the bad guy here again, is I think a lot of people that own guilds, that run guilds, or a lot of people that want to play the game, they don't really understand the depths of this subject, because Steven pointed at a couple of things during a lot of the streams where I came to believe that politics is going to play a really big role, because he said spying, on alt accounts, and betraying other people. It's gonna be in this game. Yeah. It's gonna be a huge amount. And I think a lot of people that run guilds, they run the basic guilds. I'm the guild leader. You do what I say. We do this and this on that day. Like, we're going raiding, we're doing PvP. There's a node war on this day, and I feel like now with a game like Ashes, where all the player actions have repercussions, I feel like a lot of guilds, they're gonna come in here, think, all right, this is just something, whatever my guild does, I can lose members, but it's not gonna really influence like our game experience. And I think a lot of people don't realize that it's gonna be the complete opposite. It's gonna be like, all right, I'm a guild leader, I messed up when it came to politics. Now half the server or half our node or 3 nodes are coming after us. So what do you guys think? Like, what scenarios can we get ready for in Ashes? Saru, how would you go first? What do you think could happen? Like, what's a scenario you can imagine would happen with a guild politics system, this in depth as in Ashes?
I mean, that's a little tough. I really don't know what they're going to really go for in the game itself. I know for a fact, I mean, we've seen it already, and this is speaking like a member, not like a moderator or anything, but, I've seen it like guilds just, go on and just chat and, talk amongst themselves, be diplomatic, and then, then you got the bad guys who, that's the role they want to play. They're not necessarily bad guys in real life, they're just, that's just what they want to do. So I think there's going to always be some type of, I guess, system where anybody's going to be pissed off or do something, whether it's the guild wars or whether it's sieges in the nodes, whether it's a religious battle in game, whether it's a race war that people decide, you know, screw the Tonar, or, you know, whatever it could be. I think there's always going to be something. I'm just curious because there are so many guilds this early on. You know, you don't really see like, I've been in a lot of communities for games where, you know, they make guilds and they make fan sites. You know, you got things like Source, like, you know, things from like Curse and stuff like that. They make fan sites for games.
Yeah.
And they create guilds and stuff, and early on and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see how many of these self-proclaimed guilds will grow and be the best. You know, that's not necessarily a challenge for them to say. I'm not necessarily saying they're shit or anything. I'm basically saying, you know, I'd like to see a success story. You know, I'd like to see where it's like, okay, I started from nothing, and now I'm the biggest guild in Ashes of Creation. 3 years down the line, I'm still going on. We have videos, and we've won, who knows, awards or whatever the case, right? I'd like to see that, but who knows?
Dave, what do you think?
I want to touch on what you said about how you don't think people realize how much this is going work this is going to be. You're exactly right. Like, guild politics is going to play a major role into this game. I mean, everything from the foundation of just like you said, Saru, some people wanting to be play the bad guy. They might kill somebody in another guild that, you know, that wants to start a war with you. Everything that you do is going to affect something in this game. So you're going to have to work with your other especially the bigger guilds. You're going to have to work with your members to have to work towards a common goal, because, excuse me, everything, like I said, you kill somebody and they're upset at your members, or you siege somebody's castle and they don't like that you took over their castle, or they don't like that you took over their node, or you built a metropolis on the node that they wanted by the riverside, and now they're coming after you. So everything, even becoming the mayor or leader of a metropolis, that everything is going to play a role into how you're perceived in the world and how people perceive you. I mean, if you're a griefer, if you're mean towards people, if you help people, all of that's going to play a part. And how people perceive your guild is also going to play. I feel like it's going to play a major role into, guild politics, if people want to be a part of your alliance, if they're going to help defend your castle in times of need, things like that.
For sure. And that's funny because like I said, I've seen these guilds start out from the very beginning. I've seen some of these guilds that are acting very high and mighty, and I've seen how they've started out, doing some interesting methods to recruit. And I said this in the previous live stream, so I mean, I'm comfortable saying it because whoever they are, they know who they are. And, it's very interesting because it's not easy leading a guild. I've led guilds for many years. I've led communities for many guilds. I still have a gaming community that I just restarted. So, it's not necessarily easy to go ahead and say, I'm going to do this and we're going to do all of this, I like to see the ambitions. I like to see the passions of these community members. I like to see more of actions mean more than words, kind of guy. So I'd like to see that. Like, it's not like I'm necessarily challenging them, saying, "Hey, fight me." I'm just saying, from a community member perspective, looking from the outside, looking into Ashes of Creation, I'd like to see you be, declaring that you're the guild. I want to see you actually lead successfully, and I want you to be completely successful in Ashes of Creation. And for me to finally say, "Hey, you know what? I've seen them since the very beginning, and they inspired me." That's what I want to see.
That sounds no. Like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I completely agree. I like seeing those guilds and see how they progress, and it's interesting to see how this is going to play out for each story server's narrative too. I think that how guilds interact with each other is also going to play a role into how your narrative plays out, because two guilds might be fighting over a node for so long, while on one server, while on another server they're working to the top guilds are working together to push the narrative from one zone to another and different things like that. So yeah, I completely agree. I'd like to see those success stories. I also feel like I like that so early in the development of the game that there's so many people trying to start up guilds. I hope some of them don't have the ambition of just, hey, let's gather 300-400 people and I'm just gonna sit back and log on every day and chat and maybe raid once in a while and hope it runs itself, because I've seen guilds spend so much time recruiting and doing all this to amass members, and then the guild leaders kind of just sit on their butt. They don't really do much. They're just like, yeah, I'll show up to a raid here and there, but they don't want to organize events, and then so it gets frustrating and gets left on the officers and the lower members, and then after that, they end up breaking. So
there's something to say to that, though, because in a lot of the ideology for guild creations, the idea is you have the leader, but they're really just the face and the guys that gives the idea, and then he has maybe second in command or officers that carry out those wills, right? He or she doesn't have to really do much other than inspire, to be honest. Like, be the president and you have the government that is actually doing the rest of the thing, and then they're giving down the orders to the members. So that's kind of the basic ideology. It's not very active when people do it these days, mainly because people kind of abuse it and they don't know how it's done. And you have hardcore guilds. That really depends on the mindset of the guilds, right? You got hardcore guilds, you got the balanced guilds that are used to be called semi-hardcore, and then you got casual guilds. So it really depends on what mindset you're on, and depending on that mindset, I mean, that's really going to affect the rest of your members.
Yeah.
Well, what I feel like is, I get what you're saying, and I saw this on a couple other games, and it's like awesome. Hey, I know these guys, and like Saru said, yeah, I know them from the beginning. Those guys are awesome. And I also know a lot of guilds that were like, yada yada yada, we're gonna be the best. We recruit everybody. We're gonna try to be as big as possible, so we are the best. And fall apart within a couple of weeks. And I sadly have to say, since we did the guild fair, a lot of guilds disbanded or got put into other guilds or put themselves together with other guilds, and I want to see the opposite of all that. What I want to see is a small guild, 5-10 man guild who gets to the top, not based on game performance, not based on, hey, we're the best in PvP, we're the best in PvE, hey, we spend the most amount of time in the game to make the most amount of money to be the richest guys in the game. I want to see a puppet master guild who runs the server, who is the #1 guild on the server just based on politics. They know how to deal information, they know how to position themselves and run everything from behind the shadows until they're on the top. That's what I would like to see.
It's a little crazy.
I know, but the beautiful thing is, if you have a guild with people that know what they're doing and they can bet big guilds against each other by dishing out false information or converting information in a certain way. Because I heard stories about that from EVE Online, that people have been doing that.
I'll comment on something that I won't necessarily say where. I know you guys know where it's from, but there and it's kind of disappointing to hear this because I was there when I heard it. When you're telling someone that their guild is absolutely not a guild because they don't have the members, because they're 5 members, because they're 8 members, and that automatically in your eyes does not make them a guild. There is a common saying, I'm not really sure what the saying is, but it only takes one person to change the world. Yeah, it only takes one person to completely change the absolute outcome of the game. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know where the self-entitlement comes with, if I have a 300-man guild, I am a guild. If you don't have 300-man guild, you're not a guild. If you don't have 10 members, which is what we have on Discord, you're not considered a guild, and that's not necessarily at all what's supposed to, the idea behind it. If you have 10 members, it's so we can actually tag you, because we don't want to give out 1 billion guild leader tags all day, every day. We don't have the time for that. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because you're not a guild leader on Discord that you're not a guild leader. I don't know. There's just some things that irk me that has been said, and I'd like to see what comes out when the game comes out.
I think I don't know who was. I think it was one of the guys who used to raid with Paragon, like one of the former best World of Warcraft guilds, who said if you have 2 people, you're a clan. If you have 3 people, you're a guild. And
right.
I think with the amount of politics that can and probably will or could happen within Ashes, I think there is a lot of scenarios that I can imagine where you have something like an information broker, like you have people that just go out there and gather information on other guilds, like and then sell this to like enemy nodes. And
that's obviously going to happen. Yeah, that's already happening.
Yeah, that's like something I could imagine doing by myself. not because I want to be a jerk. It's just like something that I always been good at is processing information and providing it to the highest bidder. Like I've done that in Black Desert. I've done that in Arcage.
Well, that's already happening, dude. Just the little tidbits of information going on within guilds, and how many members a guild has, or who is in that specific guild, or what their plans are. People are already doing that right now. They're going into their guild websites, they're trying to register, and get information on that. Yeah, for sure, that's already happening, and that's still going to happen.
Yeah, that's. I think it's going to get even worse by like the closer we get to the game.
All right. I mean, that's the intention. That's what Steven wants.
Oh, he wants drama. Yay! It's gonna be so much fun.
He wants people to just have fun, right?
Yeah. All right, let's jump into it's one of the aspects of politics. It's something we also do not know a lot about, but I always like to talk about this topic, which is siege mechanics. So, 2 nodes want to go to war each other, or somebody wants to declare a siege. The siege is happening. Same question as before when it came to the open world stuff. And what do you want? What do you want in sieges? Like, what is something you really want to see? What is something you don't want to see? Like, I gotta go first because mine is pretty simple. I want to see death. I want to see a battlefield with so much stuff going on that Zergs cannot happen. Zergs probably will happen at certain points. When you breach the gate, hey, everybody breach the gate, everybody through the gate. That makes sense. But I don't want to see like blobs of people just running together all over the place. I want to have like siege catapults that take 3 to 4 people to control them. I want to see resource camps where you have to guard like caravans coming into your siege camp, and same goes for the defender side. Like I want to have so many mechanics that people have to take care of during a siege. So, and what I do not want to see, what I don't want to see is people like misusing the siege system. And like no Zergs, like it's something I don't want. DA, what do you want from the siege mechanics, and what do you don't want?
I completely agree. I don't want just a Zerg fest. I would love to see something like you said. I when you said the protecting caravans coming into your camp, that's actually a really good idea. I didn't even think of that one. I was just thinking maybe like if you're sieging say a metropolis, that there's certain points that maybe you can have that different groups have to split off and go and destroy. Maybe one group has to open the back gate to let the main gates in, and only a certain amount of people can go in at a time. I would, like you said, I would like to see siege mechanics that involve people splitting off into groups and doing different tasks to achieve the goal of a siege, not just thousands of people rush a door and fight each other, and then once the gate opens, you rush through. The catapult thing, I think it's a good idea. Hopefully we can get some more information on things like how the mounts will affect siege. Say you're a guild leader with a castle and you fly in on your dragon. Are you going to be able to, breath the wall of that metropolis, or are you going to, you know, be able to help to destroy the gate? How much damage are things like that going to do in Siege? Are you going to be able? It's like one breath from your dragon going to be able to wipe out, you know, 10 enemies within, you know, 2 button clicks, or is it going to be something more a leveled playing field? It's interesting to see. I'm interested to see how they're going to incorporate all of this into Siege mechanics. But yeah, there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to sieging. Like you said, though, the only thing I'm really not looking forward to is just a straight, you know, Zerg fest of one world versus another. I'm sorry.
Saru, what about you?
Well, I saw this, I think, in another podcast, but there was a thing I said that I would enjoy being in like a tavern or something and just drinking some tea, and I'm not even minding what's going on outside. It's just, you know, I don't know, a rainy day or a sunshine day, and I'm just enjoying everything, and out of nowhere there's just a big ball of fire coming straight at my face. And then bam, death. So I'd like to see, you know, yeah, I'd love to see the actual effects of what it does affect the entire metropolis. So if I'm in a metropolis myself, and I'm like, oh, I'm in an apartment or I'm in a house, and it destroys the sides of my house, you know, I could see that, you know, there's like bits and pieces falling out of the apartment building or whatever the case. I'd like to see that if it's a destruction, it is a destruction, and it is causing you to want to fight back. It is giving you inspiration to go and fight back and say, all right, well, my home is being destroyed. I'm gonna go and defend it, right? Instead of what most people have done in other MMOs, where it's like, I'll just move on to another one. You know, I want it to actually be inspirational. There was this talks on. I think there was these talks on Discord a few months ago. Like, what if you have an NPC wife and she dies and you're just screaming at her on your screen? You're like, you're like, get ready, get the children. You know, I'd like to see it affect you, like, not on an emotional level where you're like watching some sad anime, but like, where you're literally saying, well, crap, this is my home, it's going to take me a shit ton of time to go to another metropolis and build up my citizenship there and all that stuff again. I'd like to fight back for it, and then you can queue in, or not queue in, but, you know, like, proc in right into the battle and fight back to the whoever's zerging or whoever's attacking you.
I feel like that's because you just mentioned, and the way you just explained it, it was wonderful, by the way. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that yet. I think a lot of people still think that sieges are just something, you know, that happens with no repercussion. I feel, and this is me talking as a community member, because I am, even when I'm at work, when I work from my home office, or when I'm at the office, and I read like at the Discord. I got the Discord set up on my phone. It's on my laptop. It's on my monitor at work. Like, I always keep I'm always lurking like 24/7, unless when I'm sleeping. So it's not 24/7, you know, minus like 6 hours. I feel like a lot of people don't grasp the depth of like the game yet. A lot of people think that, you know what, you build up your node and, you know, you do all this stuff and this stuff is gonna stay. And as from what I can tell, the way Steven wants it is, yeah, you build up all your stuff, you know, your house, your apartment, your freehold, you know, your metropolis is so pretty, and then somebody comes and is like, you know what, on your so pretty metropolis, we're gonna go and take a huge dump. And I feel like a lot of people don't grasp this yet. I think a lot of people think that they cannot lose stuff. And, and I feel like as soon as they realize, hey, oh shit, if we don't do something, they gonna, like, you know, they might not lose everything, but everything they build up for, you know, like, it's from what I can tell, from what I understood, is building up a metropolis takes resources. The node leader, you know, he can put in the build order, and those build orders, they take resources. Because Steven, there's a statement Steven did, which I found in the AOC wiki page, is preparing for a siege takes the same amount of materials it took to build up a node.
For sure. And I think, it's not just the the effort and how much time you're putting into it. Of course, that's a majority part of it, but I think what would be the best, and I'm sure DA will agree with me with this, is if they're putting little tidbits and what word is it called? I can't even think of it. Like Easter eggs, there we go, into the map, into the metropolis. For example, the Matrix is, and I love the Matrix, by the way. The Matrix is an iconic thing. You think of the Matrix, and all you think is either Neo, or you think of the little, the code that's going down. Now, do you know what's in that code? Because that was just revealed 3 hours ago. So I'll tell you what that code is. The creator, Simon Whiteley, they finally revealed what that code is, and it's actually all literally Japanese sushi recipes from his wife's cookbook.
You serious?
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
awesome. That's
So
awesome.
I like for little tidbit, like little Easter eggs like that. You're looking into it, you're like, what is this? What could it mean? You see these symbols on the wall, and you are so invested into your metropolis, you want to be there. You actually want to be there, rather than just being there for the convenience and for whatever perks it may give you.
Yeah, like
Right.
Like me, for example, like I stated this a lot of times on Discord, is that as soon as the game goes live, I'm not gonna run to the first node and see and join. Like I'm gonna be one of the few guys that travels the server for like weeks on end, and to get a picture of, okay, this is how everybody is set up. Where am I going to put in my citizenship? Because there needs to be a plan behind this. In my case, I want to be like, yeah, you know what? I like this node because this node is so pretty.
Yeah,
But this node, not a lot of people are in this node. There's a huge community right next on the in the other node.
Yeah.
They're gonna crush us. So I'm gonna go where it makes sense for me, where I can be sure I can build up my game experience right here and don't have to worry about getting crushed every few seconds or losing all my stuff.
Yeah, and there's so many
Right.
factors to bring in, There's the leader, whether they're going to be a tyrant or they're actually going to be good. The members, if there's a lot, or if it's just a dead populace. There's a lot of things.
Okay, so let's jump to the next topic, because this is something that is actually being requested by the community, and this is gonna be one of those theory crafting topics, because one of the Kickstarter stretch goals was naval stuff. So a lot of people are requesting island nodes. So what do you guys think when somebody says, I want island node. I want a node that is an island. I want to, be living on a node that's on an island, and when I go outside the node, I want to be on the beach.
I kind of have an answer for that, but go ahead, DA.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I would love to see island nodes. I think it just adds just more to the immersion of the game itself, and your options and where you want to place your nodes. Going back to what you guys were saying about the importance of defending your node, and not just hey, I've got this and I don't care if it changes. People are going to be investing their time and money into nodes. So I think like your idea of traveling the wayside and and seeing which node you want to take, that's something that I think I'm going to do myself, because you don't want to just and start investing in the first node that you see. It might not be something that everybody else collectively is going to be putting their time and resources in. So you could be wasting your time trying to build up this node, and another node that might encompass that node and take over that its zone of area of influence ends up capping the amount of experience that your node that you've been working on can receive. So then in the end, you've just wasted your time. A lot of people are also going to be buying houses once it reaches the town level, so they can purposely invest and sell it once it becomes a mansion level, if it does reach a metropolis. So I feel like that's going to also be an incentive to help defend your city and things like that. But yeah, an island node, I mean, I would love to see that. Ships coming in. You see, some you see some ships coming from afar, and they start attacking your city, and next thing you know, like you said, you're sipping a cup of tea, and instead of a fireball, it's a cannonball coming, and it just destroyed the shop that you were getting your tea out of.
For sure.
What about you, Saru? What are your thoughts on island nodes?
So the thing I hear is like, I think people are confusing the node system with like zone of influence or the freehold system. So the whole map, I mean, there are different nodes, right? And it's all like preset locations. Like they're everywhere. Settlement can form literally pretty much anywhere. And that includes the mainland, that includes the underground, you know, where everything is, and that includes islands. Now, take into effect the fact that, you know, there is going to be ships, and there's going to be what's it called? Open sea pirating, I guess you would call. So there is going to be ports, and with those ports, you know, sometimes those ports are going to be on islands. We've seen the map sometimes. If you remember the first node, I think it was the first node video, kind of explaining out on a tabletop sort of feel.
You mean the one with the river and the cloud, and then the Ashes title coming up?
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So sometimes you'll see, like, you would have seen a little bit pieces of land in the water, and those are, you know, considered little islands. Will there be peninsulas? Is the next question. I don't know. I mean, but. I think it's very likely. I think all of the entire map will have its own area. I think whether or not there's going to be a metropolis itself on an island, that would be interesting. I think that'd be interesting to defend against. You know, like putting ships around that island and protecting it 24/7.
You know what I just thought of, and this is going to be a reference to freaking Game of Thrones. You guys watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, the Iron Islands.
Yeah, Iron Islands, the Pike, exactly. So what about, because we saw a couple of pictures of a metropolis, you know, it's one big city. What if a metropolis for an island node is set up on like 3 different islands, and they're like big bridges like connecting them? Like, it's
possible. I mean, it's all really possible, to be honest.
Right. I would like that. That would be awesome. That would be like...
And you also got to remember, they have to bring in the goods from other areas, right? So the caravan system. Damn, was this actually announced, or is this NDA?
Ooh.
I gotta think about this. Hold on.
Alright. So with island nodes, I think a lot of people, because there's a lot of people that love fishing. Like a lot of people, for some reason that I cannot like explain myself. A lot of people in MMORPGs, they love fishing. They love just standing there and fish for hours. And I think as soon as it is confirmed, released or leaked that there are island nodes, I think a lot of people, they're gonna be like, you know what? I know my guild wanted to go to that node, but I rather go to an island node.
Okay, so I checked with my moderators, so I can't say anything. I'm sorry.
Okay, damn it. Almost. You almost hit a leak. Almost.
I had to think about it. There's so much information. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's under NDA.
No. Okay. Well, that's understandable. Okay. I think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, I think if island nodes are an option, I think a lot of guilds, because I think a lot of guilds don't realize it also depends on what sort of zone you are. I mean, like me personally, I like winter Viking stuff, but I also like druid, like big woods sort of thing. So I think island nodes are gonna be like, hey, you know what? I don't like this node anymore. I want to go to the island node, so I'm leaving the guild and leaving the community. So that's like something I can see with island nodes happening.
I'm just smiling and nodding away.
So let's jump, because I think we're running out of time, but I don't know. Let's jump to the last topic, and it's gonna go. It's somewhat similar with island nodes, and we can actually take our time with this one. You know, Steven always says the world is ever changing. Steven always says players influence the world, and a lot of changes are always happening within the world. So in the real world, in the world we all live, nature seasons always change. Winter, summer, you know, fall, spring. And what I would like to see, because I haven't seen this in other MMOs, I know Black Desert Online does it a little bit, but I would like to see some major things happening when it comes to nature seasons. So, for example, like I just mentioned, I like the Viking stuff. I like cold mountain notes and that stuff. So I would like to see like zones being frozen off during one season for during winter. Like you cannot go into the cave because it's frozen, and during the summer, because you know the change in temperature, it opens up for a period of time. It's like one of the things that I would like to see in nature seasons, from nature seasons. So what things do you guys would like to see when it comes to nature seasons? Saru goes first. Saru goes first.
It sucks because I actually, on the previous live stream, I actually wanted to talk about this a lot, but we really ran out of time. I don't know if you remember, but there's a lot of topic. There's a lot of topic, especially on DPS meters. So, yeah, I'm kind of, I know the community, especially on Discord, and a lot of the people on forums, you know, they've talked about the seasons and what seasonal change will do to you, whether there's going to be holidays or whether there's going to be, you know, difference in monsters, or, you know, if you have a monster that's like just going to be a different skin, which I think would be kind of dumb. I think we also spoke a little about, I think people also spoke a little bit about like migration, and you see like all these bees going to another area or something like that. So I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see it being added like with intricate design. The thing here is like, I believe they said, you know, every 3 months or something, things are changing. Like it's just, you know, seasons are changing very fast in the game. It's not like real time. So I don't know if people are asking, you know, seasonal things like IRL, like it's December, so let's do some December stuff, or if it's in the game, because I don't know if it would work in the game.
I believe there was a discussion on that, and somebody asked about having this seasons match up with the real life, but you know, like someone commented and said, you know, the southern hemisphere has a different climate than the northern hemisphere during different parts of the year, so that somebody is obviously going to have a different. What I would like to see is maybe seasons that maybe last a month or a week, or you know, however they decide to do it. When you said about the caravan paths, I completely agree. I would love to see the seasons affect caravan paths. You know, during the winter, you can't take maybe a mountain path because it's snowed off. Like those different things are just going to add more to the dynamic of the game, and that's something that I would really like to see. You know, I remember hearing something about, you know, world bosses that might bring, like, say, an everlasting winter until they're killed. That's, you know, something that's going to add to the immersion of the world. Your guild's going to have to go out there and defeat that monster to open up your favorite trade route, because you know your materials have been getting raided the past 2 weeks because all the normal trade routes are being overused.
They're being blocked up. And that's also something to add is what if they add like a dragon that breathes ice and it totally makes the entire area winter until someone defeats it? You know what I mean?
I feel like, go ahead, DA, go ahead.
Oh, just the last thing I was going to say. I remember hearing something also about the seasons affecting crafting. So maybe not being able to fish during the winter because your favorite lake is frozen over. I think that's something also I would like to see. You know, nature effect, just different crafting elements.
I feel like the way Steven and the guys from Intrepid, the way they set up Ashes allows them to do a lot of these things. Like, and it doesn't even have to be like right from the start. Like, I don't even want that. I want there to be a solid core game at the beginning. Like, I don't want like all the gimmicks that people can think of. But the beauty and the reason I fell in love with Ashes is the way they set up the world, the way they set up their systems. I think a lot of these stuff people come up with, like from reading, right now I'm reading chat, like some people want sandstorms and mating seasons and ice fishing only in the winter. Like, those are things that I can really imagine them putting into the game as soon as the game goes live. Like, it doesn't have to be right from the start, but like later on with one patch or two, this might be a feature in the game. And So with nature seasons and the possibilities, you know, we can think of, I think they can do a lot. Like so much I couldn't even think of it.
What about, you know, specific crafting to that season or seasonal crops or
Yeah.
you know,
like
totally stole that from Zilch.
Like make it real life 2.0 just with dragons and fairies.
Hmm.
There you go. Okay, so that's it. Do you guys have anything to add when it comes to nature seasons? Anything you don't want? Like,
I hope it doesn't make me slow in winter. That pisses me off.
Don't make me.
Yeah, you're walking and there's a blizzard and you're just walking slow. I'm just gonna be annoyed.
Don't deplete my HP because it's like a heat wave or something like that.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love
thirsty
that.
Or something.
I would love that. That would be like, yes, that would be awesome. I would love that.
I would love for drinks to affect you. I know this is not really nature, but I would love for, you know, you drink alcohol because I think that alcohol is going to be in this game. You drink alcohol.
They said that, didn't they? Wait, is that in the...
What I want has something really to do with nature seasons. I want.
Can't remember anything anymore. They did say that, and sleep affects you as well.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping nothing I say is like under India, because I really don't remember. I know alcohol affects you, and it's supposed to affect you. Not in the sense of, not like whatever, or it's supposed to affect you. I'm really hoping I'm not breaking anything. And then there's sleep, that it does affect you, like if you want to be more accurate or something, like as a ranger or something, if you do not sleep, then you're going to basically fuck up.
I want, like, what I want in the game. Like, one thing I love, like, one of the few things I actually like about Black Desert Online, one of the really few things that I like about Black Desert Online is dark nights. Like, really, really dark nights. Like, where you really need a lantern or something where you can see. Like, that's something I always loved about Black Desert Online till they changed it.
That's just spoopy.
No, it's not. It's awesome. It's like, yay, we're gonna siege them. When are we gonna siege them? Oh, we're gonna siege them when it's dark and they don't see us coming. We're gonna attack the caravan when it's dark. So that's something I want. And I don't know, depending on the nature season, it might even be darker, you know, dark, rainy nights. All of a sudden, you got a summoner with his huge whatever he summons behind you. You got a tank in front of you. You didn't even see him coming. So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be awesome.
And going off some of the videos, it looks like, are from the mage using her little orb to see better. That's something that they very well may put in. You know, if you're in the forest and it's nighttime, it's harder to see. So you're going to need somebody to help illuminate it, or you might not see that monster that jumped out that you might normally would have seen during the day.
Like what somebody said, it's like, you know, set up the siege during nighttime, no one can see you, and then like begin at dawn, bam, surprise, next day.
Exactly, there you go. Okay, so why? Okay, this is
happen.
Well, you don't know.
Could you imagine that? Just like riding your mountain by, and you're like, oh, there's an army of people gathering.
Let me just turn around.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is gonna be the last topic, so we're pretty much done now. If the chat has any questions, if anybody wants to ask Sauro DA anything, go ahead. And this is now the moment where Sauro and DA is gonna plug themselves till like as much as possible. So you guys go ahead. If you don't plug yourself, I will.
Oh, DA, I guess you're gonna plug yourself.
What?
Like promote yourself.
Oh, I'm DA. I really don't use social media a lot, but you can follow me on Twitch, DA underscore AOC. Yeah, you can see me on Discord, DA hashtag 2619. Message me. I'm always down to talk about anything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, me, okay, let's see, on my off hours when I'm not a moderator, you can check me out at youtube.com/Sarumonin, maybe twitch.tv/Sarumonin. Are you on Twitter? Well, follow me at twitter.com/Sarumonin. When I am off topic and just completely out of moderation and not actually have anything to do with Intrepid or Ashes of Creation, disclaimer, you can check us out at ashesofcommunity.com, and it's just a couple community members just hanging out and, you know, doing some cool little events for everybody. Has absolutely no affiliation with anything. It's just people hanging out. You can also check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and whatever.
I love it.
Sarmonin.
I just love
That was
it.
beautiful.
I love it when you do that voice. I just love it.
I aspire to have an outro like that.
Definitely. Okay.
I couldn't remember halfway. I was like, what am I supposed to
Okay, Chaos123 asks, thoughts on Tulnar real world inspiration?
like that tiger woman in real life?
Probably.
With the makeup.
Well, when I think like what Chaoser wants to know is like, what do we feel like the Tulnar are gonna look, and where does Intrepid take their inspiration from?
It's
Planet
really hard to say.
Yeah,
Planet of the Apes.
Really, Planet of the Apes?
That's all I can think about.
Well, I think when I hear Tulnar, I think of it's gonna be a World of Warcraft reference because this is the only things I can think of right now. World of Warcraft in several dungeons or instances, especially in MOP, they had these huge salamander-like creatures. And I feel like the Tulnar is going to be a mixture of that and the chars from Guild Wars 2, and you're gonna be able to, you know, use different animal claws, animal ears, animal faces, animal tails, but the core body, I think it's going to be like the same, like from the structure, based on the structure, like it's going to be big, small, tall. It's not going to be like you can make one Tulnar with arms that are twice the size. And the skin variations are going to be like scales for whatever. And you can just pretty much go nuts.
So, there's two things here. I mean, they can either be straight out of mythology, like Svarti said, did I say it right? Fauns, dryads, and shiz and all that stuff. Or, hear me out, they got it from Spider-Man, Dr. Croc. Think about that.
Yeah, but Dr. Croc is just like one sort of animal, right? Yeah, he's a croc, Dr. Croc.
You said inspiration, right?
Yeah, inspiration. So yeah, okay, yeah, gotcha. Like they stated that the Tulnar have different animal aspects. That's just something I cannot. I need to see it. I need to see a 3D model or something. Because I can imagine like a unicorn with like spider legs and, you know, bat ears.
They're walking chimeras.
Yeah, there you
like
go.
everybody's like, I want to be one. They don't know how they look like yet, so
Yeah.
you
Like
know.
I could see.
That explains the good part in choosing who you are going to be.
I could see myself as a badass Tulnar necromancer.
You said something about Dark Knight earlier, and yeah, when I heard that side sword confirmed, that could probably be a possibility, especially for a Dark Knight. Oh my gosh,
Possible. Well, we gotta get the list for the class names soon, so everybody's gonna go nuts over that. Okay, so we just hit the 1 hour mark, and I think that's pretty much it. I want to thank DA and Ceremonin again for joining me. Want to remind everybody, go check out there's a new channel. Well, yeah, I think it's a channel on the Discord which says community sites. Go check out that. Everybody who does some sort of Ashes related content is on there. Check out the live cast, Ceremonin, and the other mods. So every Wednesday, check out proxy stuff. Check out everybody who is under community sites. There's a lot of great content creator. I
just want to correct you. It's not the mods that we're doing in the live cast. We're not moderators in this. We're not affiliate to Ashes of Creation or Intrepid Studios in any way. Complete 100% disclaimer. We are just members that are dedicated to the game.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought. Oh.
We are not using our position or anything to further our gain. So.
Okay, so everybody, thanks for watching. And thanks for tuning in. I will be back in 2 weeks with new topics, new members, and everybody have a good weekend, have a good night, have a good afternoon, have a good morning, wherever you are, and I see you all in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm.